Hello and welcome to the Imaging Wire Show. My name is Brian Casey. I'm managing editor of the Imaging Wire. We've got a great episode for you today. Our topic is Volpara and Lunit's AI Alliance, and our guests are Teri Thomas. She is CEO of Volpara Health, and Brandon Su, CEO of Lunit. Teri and Brandon, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having us, Brian.
Thank you for having us.
So let's start with introductions. Teri, can you go first and tell us about Volpara and your role at the company?
Sure. So I'm Chief Executive Officer for the last couple of years and Managing Director of Volpara. And Volpara is a technology company focused on saving families from cancer. We provide software that automates smooth mammography workflows. We also help technologists do the very best quality mammogram possible by applying AI to the mammogram images and automating reporting of density, as well as generating reports and really overall improving the mammography experience.
Right. Very good. Brandon, how about you?
So let's start with Lunit. So Lunit, our mission is to conquer cancer AI. So we're one of the first generation medical AI companies in the world. We're focusing on cancer, covering both the diagnostic side as well as the treatment side. My role is I've been the CEO of the company for more than 6 years.
All right. Very good. So Lunit announced late last year that it would be acquiring Volpara, and this was a deal that was viewed as really kind of a really nice combination of two companies that, you know, with Lunit playing heavily in the image analysis AI and Volpara playing heavily in, you know, mammography QA and operations and that sort of thing. Brandon, can you tell us where does the acquisition stand right now?
So I'm happy to let you know that the transaction is officially complete. So we've been going through a bunch of processes, getting the shareholder votes, and also from Lunit's end, we've also completed a financing round that was specifically targeted for the acquisition. So everything is complete, and we're ready to move on to actual collaboration.
All right, very good. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, Teri, can you tell us about some of the factors that made you think that a combination between Lunit and Volpara would be a good alliance?
Absolutely. You know, it's funny, when we first met Lunit, we were really struck by the alignment of the cultures of our company. We actually started a distribution agreement with Lunit because we felt like it was such a perfect fit for the technology that we provide to over 2,000 customers across the US and globally. And really, it's about multipliers. So first and foremost, really, our businesses can grow faster and we can extend the impact that we do more broadly based on the synergies between our two companies. We're really very unified in our belief that the power of AI together with a strong workflow is really the secret sauce. So combining the workflow support that we have, the AI and the quality and regulatory pieces that we have with the best AI in the industry for image analysis and cancer detection, but also a platform even to grow into other areas. To us, it was an absolute natural fit. When you put together our strong US presence with their strong Asian presence, we also have a really nice geographical fit. So to me, it was just a match made in heaven.
Brandon, how do you see each company's technologies being complementary?
Yes, so as you pointed out, so we've been more focused on the more tech side of things, the AI tech side of things. And we've been well regarded as to have best-in-class technology in terms of the AI performance level, especially in the chest and breast side of things. Volpara has been, they've proven that they have a very strong install base within the US, not just in terms of the AI side of things, but also in terms of workflow. They have a very strong footprint in the industry. And so those two software, so it's both software, but we have complementary software, and that if we combine our products into one, it becomes a very formidable package that we can offer to our customers to address better and more efficient cancer screening. starting with breast cancer.
Teri, any areas of overlap? I mean, I was kind of looking at your product lineup, and it really doesn't seem like you guys overlap in any areas.
Yeah, there is very, very little overlap when you look at our product offerings. It is interesting when you look at there's the opposite of overlap, that we've got this massive image base, and we've got a really good platform to integrate AI into the workflows. So it's a perfect fit for what we do. The one area that overlaps a bit is breast density, but even that is done differently between the two organizations. So we provide a volumetric density on images before processing. That's vendor neutral. Will work on any model or on any manufacturer. So really, when you put together Lunit's AI into our workflow management, our reporting, and then add things like, imagine having a screening for volumetric density, but also, was this mammogram done at the highest quality? Was it positioned right? Was the dose right? To know, is this actually a really good mammogram to train the AI? That combination is something no one else has in the industry.
That's great. Now, Brandon, Lunit does more than just mammography AI, and you do some chest AI and things like that. But a really important milestone for the company came at the end of 2023 when you got U.S. clearance for your Insight DBT algorithm. Can you talk a little bit about how important that is for your plans to move into the U.S. market?
Yeah, definitely. So we understand that in the breast industry in the U.S. is heavy on the DBT side of things, moving towards DBT. And so we've timed our go-to-market strategies for the U.S. market, specifically for this regulatory approval, having awareness of that fact. And so we did have the mammography product approved before, but we really targeted the DBT. We do have some experience with the DBT product in Europe and elsewhere. For example, in Europe, we do have double reading. That's by both the 2D mammo and the 3D mammo. And sites like in Sweden, like Capio St. Goran, they're actually using it for double reading. So having one of the double reading, two readers in the Europe being replaced by AI is actually being used in that manner. And so the US has been a more different approach. And so for us, the Volpara acquisition, it gives us a good chance to accelerate our plans to go to market in the US. That's really, everything has been really well timed together from our perspective.
And Teri, the U.S. market has been really important to Volpara. I mean, what percentage of sales, if you can disclose that, comes from the U.S.?
Yeah, 97%, even a slightly more of our revenue globally comes from the United States, and the majority of our staff actually live in the United States to be in market closest to the customers that we serve.
So you've got a sales network and distribution network that, Lunit can plug its new DBT algorithm into for sales, presumably.
Absolutely. To establish a presence that has connections, but also a deep understanding of the United States market would take years for somebody from the outside to come in. And we started our collaboration last year. We started co-selling at that point, and it's actually been a great fit. So just bringing the Lunit AI into our existing product mix, and then being able to extend that to our extensive customer base is actually a really great benefit that we're realizing right now.
And Brandon, was that something that was interesting to Lunit in terms of a potential acquisition? Was Volpara's presence in the U.S.?
Yeah, I mean, that's really a big factor, where the U.S. is the main market. And yes, I mean, from our perspective, even though we're still very early in our go-to-market status in the U.S., we do regard U.S. to be the top priority market that we would eventually need to do well at. And so, in order for not doing it all on our own, it's difficult for us to start from the beginning and just go to market and build everything. Having Volpara and partner with Volpara and going together definitely is a big boost for us. And we believe that we'll have to prove it by the numbers, but we definitely see very good potential in going together in the market.
Now, Teri, Volpara's been pretty active as well on the product front in the last few months, and you've had some nice introductions there. Can you talk to us a little bit about what some of the major new products that we've seen come out of Volpara?
Sure, absolutely. One new product that we're quite proud of, while the official name of it's Quiver, the internal code name is Bra. And this came up from one of our salespeople who was explaining to me and actually took me to several customer sites, showing me all of the binders that every single mammography site that I've ever seen has stacked up in bookshelves, in corners, in garages in some cases, that track a lot of this highly regulated paperwork that's necessary to be able to be MQSA certified to do mammography. And so the fact that they print out and track these things in binders, he called it the Binder Reduction Act, the BRA. And we sat down with several customers and we analyzed, what are these things that you're printing out? What is all this stuff that you're manually doing? What year is this? And realized
what
that
century is it? It's the 21st century now. Come on.
Exactly. And that nobody actually has sat down and gone through and analyzed how much of this information is available electronically. And it turns out most of it is. And so, we help our customers automate all kinds of things related to the education necessary to certify that a mammographer or radiological technologist is able to do it following their continuing education requirements. The physicist reviews of the equipment working right. There's a ton of data out there and a ton of people spending time literally writing things down and printing them out. So our Binder Reduction Act, officially called Quiver, is a new product that we released just a couple months ago. And this is a beautiful add-on to our analytics product integrated with our Hive customer community. So we can actually offer continuing education. People can take that education and it can update into their Quiver. And then here you are, they have the tools that they need to focus their time on patient care instead of administrivia. So that's our newest product.
That's
pretty exciting.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned the regulation of mammography, which is more extensive than any other imaging modality, at least in the U.S. But another issue also is guidelines. And a few weeks ago, the USPSTF released new guidelines on breast screening in the U.S. And it was kind of a mixed bag. The good news was that they lowered the recommended starting age to 40 when it had been at 50. But there were also a lot of people were kind of a little bit disappointed with some of the other issues there. What was your take on the new guidelines?
Yeah, at one level, as a person who personally advocates for younger women to understand their risk of cancer and to get mammograms or other imaging as appropriate, ultrasound, MRI, et cetera, if they're high risk, genetic testing, it breaks my heart. I actually hear people reach out to me through email, through LinkedIn, and I've had people literally walk up to me saying, "You're CEO of Volpara. I was diagnosed with breast cancer at age 35 or at age 40, 39, 25. There are these people that do get these diagnoses and don't understand their risks. So when I look at the USPSTF guidelines at one level, I'm happy that we're taking away that debate of should you start at 40 or should you start at 50, but they're not going far enough. And so I'm quite public on, I'm happy about one part, but it's not enough. It's good for our industry. It's good to have visibility. Those guidelines hadn't been looked at in far too long, but I feel like it's a step in the right direction, but not enough. One of the most important things is a lot of doctors, family practitioners, gynecologists, a lot of women have that relationship with their doctor and they have no idea of their risk. And a lot of doctors think their risk of cancer is primarily based on, does their mother have breast cancer diagnosis or sister or auntie? But the reality is there are a lot of other factors that determine someone's risk of cancer. So what I'd really like to see is that all women, as a standard, when they have a well women check, when they get a pap smear, when they're in their 20s, before age 30, be assessed, they understand and empowered with knowing their own risk, and some of them should get mammograms even earlier. So I see it as the start, but I don't see it as the finish.
Well, I think that one of the really exciting things is how powerful the integration of AI and breast density risk calculation is becoming. And I think we're probably going to see that through the integration of the products from your two firms. And, maybe in the private sector, we can maybe take care of some of these issues that USPSTF has kind of punted on. Brandon, can you talk a little bit about the integration of the two companies now the deal is done? Where are you going to be going with integration?
Yeah. So, and from our perspective, we don't really regard it as an integration per se, but really more on joining forces. That's really how we regard Volpara. They've been very successful at what they do, and we don't really want to disturb anything. And so we're keeping Lunit as it is. We're keeping Volpara as it is, but we just collaborate on specific agendas. For example, we already have started on product integration. Like, for example, having Lunit Insight part of Volpara's scorecard, and also combining risk assessment. We have the image-based risk plus the more clinical information-based risk assessment. Those combinations. So those kind of things we are actively pursuing at this point, and also merging our business teams in regions. For example, our business team will be working closely with Volpara's team, and also the Europe side as well. So these kind of collaborating together on specific items, whether it be the product side or whether it be the business side, is something that we will see more and more, and we'll continue to dig deeper in that perspective.
All right, very good. Teri, anything that you'd like to add there?
I see enormous opportunity for our two companies together. For example, Volpara did some collaboration with Microsoft to create a new algorithm for measuring and detecting breast arterial calcifications as an incidental finding or a byproduct finding of a mammogram. And as a person whose father had a massive heart attack at my age, I want to know when I get a mammogram if I'm at risk for a heart attack. I look at, right now that algorithm, it's developed, it's in the hands of researchers, but then I look at Lunit has an entire chest part of their business, and they've got algorithms to go way beyond that. So when we come together as companies, we can learn from each other. So I love this joining forces and looking for multiplier opportunities where we can get new things over the horizon that really serve more women and save more lives.
That's a great point, because there's been so much research coming out on this kind of opportunistic screening, where you can tell a woman's risk of cardiovascular disease, based on a chest X-ray or a CT or something like that. So it's really fascinating to see the kind of cross pollination. Brandon, I'd like to talk a little bit about the AI industry, and there's been kind of a perception that maybe adoption of AI clinically in radiology isn't quite going as quickly as we all might like. Is that something that an opinion that you share? And if you do, how do you think we could maybe get things rolling a little more quickly?
So AI is new technology, and so I think from my perspective, I did expect it to take some time for this to be picked up in a widespread manner. And I think in many ways it has rapidly evolved, at least from a awareness perspective. I think right now at this point, people actually really, really believe in AI and have expectations that AI will become a big part of the future in medicine. And so that awareness compared to like a few years ago, and that has changed a big part. I do believe that at the end of the day, it's really about the AI performance level having to match the expectations. So I don't think it's still perfect. But the performance level of the AI will continue to evolve and become better and better and better as we move forward. So I think it's really a matter of time when AI will become a big part of the workflow. And workflow is another part that is something very important, something that Volpara product has shown us that it is a big part, and it's really something that customers need and want. So assessing that having that AI being used in a very efficient manner by the users, and like companies like us having to address that is very important. I think all of that is really, really happening step by step. And I do think that within a few years, it will become bigger and bigger. And I think with the governments, I think also reacting, there are many countries in the world that have started to reimburse including the US, Japan, Korea, etc. There are many countries that have started to reimburse AI in a very widespread manner that will also help for the widespread adoption of AI to spread out. So it really will be a question of when. So I think it's coming, and it's going to be very soon.
Teri, do you have any thoughts? I mean, Volpara has demonstrated that when you offer tools that breast imaging facilities find are productive and useful, they'll buy them. Do you think how long do you think it's going to take before that extends to kind of image analysis AI?
I think actually that's the key right there. When you see value, and it's either follow the money, reimbursement, as Brandon mentioned, or it's making a positive impact on lives, on detection, on a radiologist's day. So we've been talking with Lunit about understanding the workflow of the radiologist and the workflow within mammography. I think one of the mistakes that some vendors have made is, gee whiz, here's an AI, here's more stuff for you to look at, instead of actually, we need to take away some effort and we need to make sure that radiologist can go home in time to have dinner with their families. It's that value proposition and integrating it in a way that you see the concrete value, and it moves from kind of a, gee whiz, this is cool, to, wow, this actually made an impact on me. And you can't tell, but there's a bookshelf behind me, and a bunch of books on the top of the shelf are all around 100 to 130 years old. A number of them are medical books. And when you read those books and you look at, when automobiles were invented, you had to go to the pharmacy to buy gasoline. And people thought the car would never replace the horse. Well, the value became really clear. When you look at the complexity of medicine and you look at the capabilities of AI, it will actually integrate into new standards of care. It has to be done in a way that you can trust, has to be valid, it has to be trained on enough data, and it has to make an impact on the users. But I firmly believe that will happen. So it's not, at this point, a matter of if, it's a matter of how. And together, Lunit and Volpara, looking carefully at the radiologist workflow, the technologist workflow, the quality, the trust, and making an impact for concrete value, I think we're in a position to do it better than anyone else.
Great. Teri, if you can continue that thought, we're almost at the midpoint of the year. What can we look forward to from Volpara for the rest of the year?
Growth. Growth is a big thing. It's growth in our number of staff engaging with customers. We're growing our customer success team. We're growing our number of people that do actually help people with learning how to do risk assessments. We look at the NAPBC criteria goes into effect in December, and there are lots of customers who still don't really know how to do risk assessments. So we're engaging our experts, including many people that have set up those programs, former mammographers. We've got quite a bench of people who really deeply understand this industry. So we're adding more people. We're engaging deeply with our customers. We're integrating with the Lunit team together to be able to provide comprehensive solutions to our customers in the US. And then we're expanding to other parts in the world. So for us, together with our new product, Quiver, and some of the co-development that we're doing with Lunit, we're busy and we're growing.
Great. So Brandon, on the Lunit side, you've got this deal done now. What can we expect from Lunit through the rest of the year?
Yeah, so growth is also very important for us. We've been trying to expand not only in the US but also in Europe and Asia. So we'll see a lot of that. But from an AI technology perspective, we've been very aggressive in applying new novel AI technologies and improving our products. For example, applying novel foundation models in our chest and breast imaging side of things and making it better. We do plan to have these kind of developments to be somewhat finalized by this year. And so new stuff coming up, both on the business side as well as the product side.
All right, very good. Well, it's something for us to look forward to. I'd like to thank Teri Thomas of Volpara Health and Brandon Su of Lunit for being with us today and for engaging in this fascinating discussion. And congratulations on your alliance.
Thank you so much, Brian. It was fun.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
Signing off for the Imaging Wire, my name is Brian Casey.